that part to be more simple. I like you to put your hands together for a round of applause for Mr. Nsofor. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's nice to meet all of you virtually and share with being an artist. So this is something I've been doing for like about 26 years. I majored in painting, and for me for a long time it has been that question of asking yourself how authentic is what you're doing. Sometimes, like when you've done this for so long, there is a certain kind of um, boredom that happens occasionally where you're questioning your identity, your work and all of that. But we have the help of art history. It was good to hear that some of you have mentors, because with the knowledge of art history, we get to understand that other artists before you have been in this bubble. They have been in this position of questioning the authenticity of their work, and it becomes so much easier to borrow from their knowledge and their experiences to realize that you're good, man, and then like you could move on. So somebody that really helps stand out is a person like Van Gogh, who didn't sell any painting his entire life. He only sold one to his brother his entire life, but now none of us here can afford a Van Gogh painting. So what stands out about his life is that he continued doing this, because it's really, every time you're confronted by a blank space, canvas or whatever medium you want to work with, and you're thinking, where do I start? Just remember, the only thing to hold on to is audacity. Now, I want to focus really on women. Here, where this place where the Torpedo Factory Art Center there are a lot of women. It was started by women. It's like about 120 female artists, mostly white, mostly American, that are here. And I became very, very touched by the fact that some of them do amazing work, but they are not being given the same visibility as their peers, as the men in galleries, in museum shows, etc. You find out that the woman is almost absent. So for every woman you find in a museum, you find like at least maybe 90 men. And it's not because the quality of their work is not there. It's so like I think last week I got this message about the Gorilla Girls. They opened an exhibition in New York, and we find out that it's really up to people, and this is why I love what this association is doing. It's really up to us to encourage more visibility for women, for girls in the art space, because these people are also doing amazing stuff, now living in America, I have come to see that, okay, we have a new president who is fighting the DEI thing, that's diversity, equity and inclusion. So even if anybody is thinking of coming to the US, this might not be the best time to come to the US, because before when they had the diversity, equity and inclusion, and the government was supportive of it, it allowed people from, people like women and girls to get employed, to get opportunities. But now, without that diversity, equity and inclusion, equity where you're trying to create a balance amongst the genders, you find out that more often than not, the men will take over those spaces. They won't give space for women. and so I'm not sure it's going to be that good for a girl or a woman trying to come in here and do stuff. The system has, taken off that power for you. But in other spaces, of course, it's so much more what the rest of the world is talking about: equity, where women, the girl child, is given opportunity to also be expressive, to also show what she's got, because she is the other half of the human race. And if you tried other spaces like the United Kingdom, in Europe, these are, even in Africa, they are more inclusive in the way they are accepting that there is that gap in the narrative. If you remove the girl child, if you remove the woman from every conversation. So this is kudos to the women and the girls that are here in this panel, for you to also know that this is a pivotal time in history where humanity is trying to balance out the gender inequality that has existed over time. So you are the one that will need to make yourself known, present yourself in other platforms. And being an artist, I have felt that, thank God for the internet. So it has become a democratization of the market, where you can own the market, you can enter into different markets without fear. You can be included internationally while you're still somewhere in a village far back in South Africa, or in Nigeria, or some village in Alexandria. So it's no longer about you have to be physically present in a space to take advantage of all the resources in that space. So this was an example was when I had a show 2 years back. It was a solo exhibition back in Nigeria, and I didn't show up for the show, but yeah, there was a video of me talking about my work and all that, it was a very successful show. But if you travel a bit, you come to realize that you don't need to be physically present to sell your work. You don't need to be physically present for your work to be evaluated by Gagosian or by the Museum of Modern Art. So just have that in mind. Use social media. Create an online platform that is solid, that is always reaching out. In fact, just know that your voice is as loud as you can amplify it. And the best thing about it is not about just waiting for affirmations from people and all that. The truth is, any response is great response. Any response that you get, try and follow up with your social media platforms on Facebook, etc., with answering comments, responding to comments, to whatever you've posted, because it's this tells the algorithm of, like, Instagram, for instance, that okay, this person is participating, so we need to engage more with this person, connect this person with this community, and they will make your post more visible to a wider audience. Just keep thinking about these things in your work, and then remember the judges, those judging your work, the curators, and your fellow artists, your teachers also. They may be clueless about what is the next big thing. I promise you, it's not rocket science. Art history shows you how even the greatest curators and the galleries got it wrong with superstar artists like Jean Miro, etc., etc., like a lot of other people. So don't ever think that, okay, this person said this is the rule for becoming successful as an artist, and you must follow this person's pattern to make it. Just do your own thing. And sometimes it's little things like engaging with your audience by creating videos of yourself, creating whatever you're creating. You don't need to say a word. You find out, like, on YouTube, you find people that have not said a word, but all they do is they just show their hands, they are doing something, and their posts are viral. They have over 500,000 views and all of that from just maybe doing a simple thing as washing their brushes. So it's just think about this thing. Unfortunately, you guys are of that age that understand, that live on the internet, that live online. We were that transition generation. So we have the old ways of doing things, the analog thing, and we're learning the digital thing. You guys were raised on the digital platform thing, totally. So think about these things when you create your work. And what I say to people is, well, art is a business. Everybody around you, they think you're playing. It is a profession. I learned this long ago, and that's how come I chose to become an artist. Like at first it was for me, I can draw things that look similar to what is in real life. I could mimic real life in my drawings and all that. And people saw it, so they said, oh, that's nice. And then at some point I realized that they liked it and they wanted to own it. And I said, oh, that's also nicer. And then the aha moment came for me when I realized people were willing to pay for these things that I create. So just let nobody trick you to think that art is it is some magic and all of that. It is business. So yes, you're creating a masterpiece, blah 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 blah. It has to be a certain way and all of that. Remember, never forget the business part of art. In fact, some people here, like I've had conversations with some older artists here in the US, and they say if they had known what they knew, they would have gone to college, the 2 years program with art. After 2 years college and all that, they would do 3 months business management courses, and they're fine. So if you have the opportunity to do a business course, please go for it. It's like, you could do it virtually, you could do it online, 3 months, but it will give you the thing that nobody teaches us, nobody taught us in art school. The business of art. It's a vital place that you have to be strong on. And I see that a lot of you are here and you will have questions. I would want to just think of my journey. I've been doing this for so long, and my work has always been focused on, every time I find out that some of the most appealing stories are personal stories for me, because nobody knows your story as good as you. So I try to share these personal stories anytime I have the opportunity. So in your work, when you think about subject matter, just embrace life and think about the little things in front of you. Think about the little things that you're going through. Think about the issues of life in the moment you're in. In fact, remember every time that you are an advocate for your kind, for your community, firstly as a woman, firstly as a girl, then as an African, then as an international. Just think of where you are in your bubble and start from there to question the world. Start from there to reintroduce yourself to the world. So when you're thinking about theme and all of that, it becomes easy, it becomes fluid, it becomes like almost like a journaling of your work. So when people look at what you created at this point in time, they understand inside of the context of the timeline you're living in. And this is pivotal, because if you're trying to create outside of your life, outside of the stories that you're interested in and all that, that's where we're having these struggles. That's where we have some incoherence in the work we're creating and all that. But I'm going to say that I will stop right now. The best thing about being in the US has been that, well, there is this value for my work, and it's not, the value is easier internationally than maybe in Africa, because of the financial, the standard of living is so much higher here. So that means that my work is valued better right here, but it doesn't mean that I have to be here to take advantage of the prices and all that. And in valuing my work, I think someone said something about putting a cost on your work. I see that, like, when you start as an artist, remember that art is just like every other profession. So I just graduated from university. I will put a price point for my paintings based off of how much did the materials cost me. Okay, it cost me $50, and then I say, okay, so if I was saying that I was paying myself per hour, how much is minimum wage? Okay, it's $15 for Virginia, so $15 per hour. So I've worked on this painting for like 10 hours, so that's like $150. So you say 150 plus 50, you have $200. Easy way, because I haven't had any exhibition, but like, because I haven't been in an art fair, because I haven't been in an auction, etc. But the way the value of my work will appreciate is every year I would say to myself, if I was working for the government, if I was working for a company, I would get promoted after some time, wouldn't I? So I will put a certain amount of money to that original money that I normally, I put. That's okay, $50 plus 150. So 1 year later I can put $10.
They offer much.
Hello? Hello? So I will increase the price gradually. Then if I have exhibitions, I want you to understand that if you have a solo exhibition, it's just as big as having certification. It's getting certification when you're working on a job, on a 9 to 5 or whatever. If you have a solo exhibition, it's as big as having earned a master's degree, or just getting more certification on your job. And so that affects the value of your work. So the more exhibitions you're having, you should not let your prices stay stagnant. It should grow beside your professional experience and development. Note that. Don't stay in the same place. 10 years later, your works are still the same price. I'm sorry, you're doing a disservice to yourself. You're negating all your experience. You're negating all your growth by doing stuff like that. So this is something you should note about growing your prices in tandem with your professional experience and development. And one advice I want to give to younger artists is that about gallery representation. This is one thing if I look at a younger me, I wish I took advantage of. If you find a gallery that wants to represent you, and they say, okay, we're going to do 50%, we're going to do 60%, and you will take 40%. As an artist that is just about to start, take it. Don't make it an exclusive agreement, as in terms of you decide to sign up with them for 2 years. The truth about this thing is 2 years will come in a minute, but your work would have received a lot of exposure by this gallery. Your work would have reached a certain prestige, because they'll put it at a price, they'll put the value of your work at a price point that you will benefit from and they will benefit from. 2 years later, you can cut off from them, or you could go to another gallery and all that. But take advantage. If you find a gallery interested in your work and you're willing to work with them, go for it. Don't hesitate. Don't say, oh, they're going to get 60%, they're going to get... No. They are also going to be marketing your work. Yes, they will get all of that, but if you don't take advantage of all these opportunities, even if they say, okay, I want to put your work in an auction, tell them take it. Anything that gives you visibility at the moment, just take it right now. You're not yet, it's not like you're 9 to 5, you're not like struggling so far, you have a family and children and blah, 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 blah to take care of. At this point in time, you don't have so much to worry about. It's just the money to eat and to buy your materials that you are really looking for. Take advantage of any platform that wants you to get involved, that wants you to come in and do stuff with them. It will really help your work. Now that is my advice to everybody. I hope you take it. I have, at least if nothing else, for the fact that I've been doing this for 26 years, maybe as long as some of you have lived on this earth. But I want to also learn from you, from the questions you're going to ask me right now. Think of those things you wish to ask your lecturers, you wish to ask collectors. I have been in positions where I have asked those questions, or I may just have an answer for you about making it as an artist in the world. The easiest way to do this thing, to do the arts, is stay connected to your support system. Family is priceless. Whoever, a collector that loves your work, priceless. Never lose touch. Keep on staying with them. Don't lose touch of the person that bought your first artwork. Keep sharing whatever you're creating. Keep them in the loop with your development and growth as an artist. They are priceless, because some days you won't sell art. Some days you will need them, and that's when they will show up on your behalf. I think, let me leave this now so that you guys can put in questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope you all heard what he said. Don't lose touch.